Live from the heart of South Florida, this is News 4 at 5:30.
Hurricane Gilbert is trying to tear South Padre Island, Texas off the map tonight. You are looking at the big Gulf Coast storm as it comes ashore. Good evening, everyone. The hurricane has now hit North America with all eyes focused on the Gulf Coast where Texas and Mexico meet. News 4 has crews throughout the Gulf region with our John Hambrick coordinating our coverage right now out of Galveston, Texas.
Close to half this city's population of 66,000 evacuated on their own before city manager Doug Matthews issued his evacuation call last night. Those who stayed have been in almost a party mood, strolling and driving along Galveston's seawall today beneath mostly sunny if somewhat hazy skies. Only the heavy surf and high seas give obvious testimony to Gilbert's presence several hundred miles south. The situation is a lot more ominous in Brownsville. These latest pictures from that southernmost Texas city of 100,000 tell a good deal about the fearful feelings there. Mayor Ignacia Garza has called for evacuation, but many left even before Texas Governor Bill Clements sent National Guard units to nearby McAllen and Alice just in case they're needed. And 6,000 people are already in Brownsville shelters. In Corpus Christi, almost halfway between Brownsville and Galveston, the National Guard is also on alert there, ready for the coming of Gilbert, and he will arrive somewhere on this land soon.
And Cliff Morrison is standing by now live at the National Hurricane Center in Coral Gables.
Charting the progress of that storm. Cliff, what's happening now?
What's happening now is this is right up against the Mexican coast just south of Brownsville in a little area called the Tamaulipas County, Mexico. It's a very sparsely populated area, and if a hurricane was going to hit anywhere, it's better here than a very populated area, as like Brownsville or Corpus Christi. Here are the latest coordinates right now as we have them. It is 24.2 degrees to the north, 97.8 degrees to the west. It is still moving at the west at around 12 miles an hour. The winds are still in the core of the hurricane at 120 miles an hour. Hurricane warnings are in effect from Tampico, Mexico, all the way up through Brownsville and Port O'Connor, Texas. So this is definitely a very wide storm, and you're going to feel some tropical storm force winds up in that area. Dr. Robert Sheets, director of the Hurricane Center here. What are the dynamics of this Gilbert right now?
Well, the eye is moving over the coast. The inner edge is on the coast. Within a half hour, the center point will have crossed the coast. Up in here is the 120-mile-per-hour wind zones, and that is within about a 30 or 40-mile wide swath right near the core. Dropping off as you go northward with here hurricane force winds about the edge of that being around Brownsville.
And what are we looking for there? A lot of rain, a lot of wind?
Yes, a lot of rain to be spreading in here over the northern part of Mexico and then spreading up into Texas and perhaps Oklahoma in the next 36 to 48 hours. Some tornadoes, already had 2 reported in Brownsville area.
And there'll probably be a lot more, I would suspect.
Yes, as it moves on up, yes.
Thank you, Dr. Sheets. Also, there's another good point of this storm is when it gets into the northern part of Texas and actually gets into Oklahoma and probably eventually the Mississippi Valley, those people need rain, and they definitely will get it from what is left over of Hurricane Gilbert. Later on, we'll update you and find out what all this means for us later on. But for now, back to you, Pam and David.
I'm not Pam and David. I'm John Hambrick, and I'm getting some feedback right here. I'm going to take this out, although I do need to get some instructions from you folks there on your time coordinates. We are standing on the seawall in Galveston, Texas, where we've spent most of our time for the past, 36 hours or so. Right now, Galveston is expected to get only a slight amount, perhaps being just very little effects from the storm, which you've just heard is now striking northern Mexico. We're really on the fringe. We're still getting a bit of wind. The surf up there is still awfully high. We've got a 6-foot high surge, sea surge. That means that the ocean level has actually come up that far and has absolutely obliterated the beaches here. But other than that, everything is pretty calm. People are coming back. The hurricane watch has been lifted. It was as of 3 o'clock this afternoon, your time. I understand that News 4's Nick Bogert is now ready in Brownsville for the latest in that. They're having a heck of a time down there, are they not, Nick?
It appears that Gilbert's worst may have gone to the south of here. There are some tornadoes reported now in this area. and perhaps there's some more damage along coastline areas that had been cordoned off, but so far as we can see, the damage does not appear to be too bad here. Preliminarily, folks in Brownsville may have experienced a near miss. We are at the Civic Center in Brownsville, which is it's a hurricane shelter. About 750 people are here. They filled this place up in no time flat last night. But for a broader look at the shelter system, we have Ursula Lance, who's with the American Red Cross. How much shelter space do you have left, and is there more demand than supply, or vice versa?
No, we have some left in some of the other shelters. We ran full capacity here, reaching it last night and staying there this morning.
At this point, the way things are going, do you expect you will have diminished demand now for space here?
Yes, from what I think, we may be able to get out maybe before midnight or 10 o'clock.
Okay, real good. Thank you very much, Mr. Lance. Only about 30% of the citizens of Brownsville, by city estimates, evacuated for this hurricane. But generally, civil defense officials are pleased with the experience. They think people took the hurricane seriously, and it looks like, as I said, Brownsville's got a near miss on its hand, very happily. Now let's go to Ed Odell in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Hello, Hurricane Gilbert has just made his presence felt here in Corpus Christi. About 4 o'clock this afternoon, we had some heavy rains come in, wind gusts 40 to 50 miles an hour. We have a flash flood watch, tornado watch, and a lot of heavy rain, as I said. This morning, as Hurricane Gilbert slowly began to come in, we had a lot of people out here on the causeway. They were people who wanted to see a hurricane.
Sightseers braved sporadic squalls as the first 50-mile-an-hour winds of Gilbert hit this morning. Luckily, none of the tornadoes that struck Brownsville 170 miles to the south caught the hurricane watchers here. Several main roads had to be closed as Gilbert's storm surge flooded streets, tides up 5 to 7 feet above normal, covered docks in the harbor, and at least one fishing boat and crew were feared lost. 4 new shelters had to be opened as Gilbert began making his presence felt. Thousands flocked to find cover. Still, some didn't even bother to board their homes, and one local insurance agent took a sightseeing tour.
Now, I don't know if that insurance agent or his friend are still out here. A lot of people have finally gone home. The shelters, I'm told, will be open probably, and people in them, until tomorrow morning. But there is a rumor, possibly, some of the weather people are saying that the hurricane warning may be lifted soon, but we're still expected to get a lot of rain.